Hi, my name is Kyle Hundertmark. This is week 3, and we're here to talk about AI in the 21st century and how that relates to the millennial generation, the concepts of consumer protection, the various benefits and drawbacks to the use of AI and the data collection that it performs, and how we can educate ourselves and make smart decisions around that area. In the TED Talk this week, the speaker kind of laid out for us in great detail the kind of horrors of this new reality that we've created for ourselves. There are companies like Facebook and Google and Amazon that are always out there mining our data, collating it, turning it into reports or advertising campaigns. There are, of course, benefits to that. There's no reason that we should be afraid of it, but there's just a kind of an inherent privacy issue that we have to, as a society, kind of address and decide how we want to handle that moving forward. So, regarding millennials, the millennial generation is now the largest consumer group in the market. Those young kids, or to me, what are young kids, are now all grown up. They're out there making purchases on their own. They have their own money, their own agendas, their own wants and needs. And we can see the market starting to shift towards making them happy. They are also the first generation to be exposed to AI in large quantities. This is, excuse me, this is technology that was science fiction basically when I was growing up, and now is reality. The millennials are kind of exposed to this all the time, whether they know it or not. We all are really, but since there are more millennials out there now than any other generation, they are kind of absorbing the brunt of it. As you can see here, that makes them the most vulnerable just due to the sheer number of millennials out there in the market. So just because they're all out there making purchases and using Facebook, using apps and all of these web services, that makes them prime targets for this kind of data collection exercise. They are also the main contributor in the workforce. So again, all those young kids are now grown up and working on their own. So that kind of puts them in a unique position to work with this AI technology as it continues to evolve. As I said, it's a kind of a new thing. So the younger generation that's entering the workforce now has a very good opportunity to get their foot in the door and drive the forward progress of this technology, whether that goes good or bad, left or right, whatever direction this ends up taking. The millennial generation is going to play a big hand in that. They also are in a position to be threatened by AI. Their jobs are kind of in jeopardy as the AI continues to evolve. It is going to take on new roles in our society, and those roles, if they're being filled by human workers now, they're going to lose their jobs, and those kind of careers are going to disappear. So in previous generations, like our grandparents had to deal with machines coming in and replacing factory jobs, millennials are going to have to deal with AI coming in and replacing who knows what, depending on how it evolves. So, benefits of AI. First and foremost, it is a convenience. So we have things like Siri and Alexa, these kind of robot butlers that listen to us and give us what we want, answer our questions, help us buy things, or answer trivia questions, whatever. It helps with predictive browsing and shopping. They kind of listen to us and learn from us, and they know what we want even when we're not good at framing our questions, just because they're listening to us all the time and they're learning from what we're telling them. Other benefits, the decentralization of these applications allows for data to kind of, instead of all being stored in one place, it's all out there in different servers and different locations. So that makes it really hard to get to for thieves and hackers. If it's all on one centralized location, if you hack into that one computer, you get everything. Now that it's in 100 different places, it's like kind of a puzzle, and each puzzle piece is in a different country. So it makes it really hard for hackers to, steal data. And again, as I said earlier, it creates new jobs in AI management. This is a new technology, and it will require new ideas and new ways of thinking. This presents a good opportunity for a highly educated, tech-savvy generation like the millennials. So, drawbacks. Again, first and foremost, we have privacy concerns. This stuff is sitting out there gathering and transmitting data without our knowledge or informed consent most of the time. That is hard for a lot of people to deal with, and it's hard for a lot of people to even wrap their heads around it. Just the invasiveness of this technology is kind of mind-boggling. It eliminates entry-level jobs, as I said before. Kind of menial tasks will be performed by AI and machines now instead of people. And millennials will need better credentials to get worse jobs because there will be less jobs. So we're going to want more qualified individuals, which means the need for more schooling, more education, and just higher credentials for lower jobs. It also introduces the concept of personless thinking. The goal of AI is to kind of automate the decision-making process in whatever area you're looking to implement it. This can lead to very questionable decisions, and when the machines start thinking on their own and making decisions and nobody is checking them, who knows what credentials it's using, and that leads to just blind obedience, because if the machine is set up to make a decision and it makes a decision and you listen to it, you're kind of just obeying. That can be bad if it goes rogue. So abuse, that's another threat of AI. This technology is intended to kind of replace a person. So if it's built in a specific way, it can be used to emulate a person. And if you look online, you can see these machines have created fake profiles and posed as people, and it spits out these postings and opinions as if they were coming from an actual individual. And that can be used to fool people or trick people or sway public opinion. We've seen that a lot recently with accusations of election tampering and social media campaigns to try and curb public opinion in one way or another. It can also be used to target specific individuals rather than large groups. As the speaker in the TED Talk mentioned, there was a programmer who wrote some code that ended up being able to predict when bipolar individuals were going into a manic episode, and it would use that information to try and prey on them to sell them tickets to Las Vegas or something, where they would go and gamble away all their money. So it's a threat to individuals as well as large groups. So threats to the millennial generation in particular. The millennials are very technically inclined as a whole. This exposes them to the data collection more so than other generations, as we talked about earlier. So a higher percentage of the millennial generation is kind of in the mix right now than any other generation. They are more likely to use apps or web portals to conduct their business, such as online shopping and banking, travel and dating apps. All of these present opportunities for their data to be exposed, and that means their data can be collected and grouped and gathered and turned into something that they might not want. And of course, millennials are always connected. The constant phone and internet access leads to overuse and addiction to technology, and this never-ending online activity results in kind of a constant data feed. So there's just data being spat out all day by all of this usage, whether you're browsing something, whether you're shopping, whether you're checking social media, anything you do is generating data to be picked up and used against you, potentially. Now, how can we protect ourselves? The first issue is transparency. These apps and websites that collect data need to make their terms clear. Right now, it is not. You get these enormous terms of use that no one ever reads. They just click accept, and the thing says, oh, yeah, sure, you read it. That's fine. Great. That can't be. This needs to be distilled down into something that's plain English, simple and easy to understand, and allow for an opt-out. This is probably going to require extensive legislation, because these companies are getting so used to being able to put out those giant terms of use that no one reads, and they think that covers them. So something needs to change. Data protection, the collection, sale, and use of data needs to be regulated. For example, healthcare has laws like HIPAA that protect the transmission of patient data. Advertising needs something similar to protect the transmission of user and consumer data. And then education. Consumers need to be educated about these processes. People just don't know that this is going on. And even if they do know what's going on, they don't understand the full extent. So we need advocacy groups or public service announcements, or even schools need to start teaching more of an online culture class to young children or even high schoolers. Although there are positives, it's not all doom and gloom. AI is not inherently good or bad. It's just a tool like a hammer laying on a table. It can be used for more than just data collection and advertising. For example, in healthcare, which is the industry I work in, this is used for predictive treatment modeling, which helps patients, and rapid eligibility processing, which helps people get their drugs faster because they're not waiting on the insurance company. And for shopping, of course, it's useful in helping consumers find what they want to buy, and it speeds up the sales process, and most importantly, gives people back free time, because I don't have to drive to the store anymore and spend 2 hours looking for something. I can just go online and buy it. So AI is definitely a useful tool, again, like a hammer laying on a table. We just need to be careful and make sure that when we pick it up, we don't smash our thumb with it.